All right, we are live and we're going to do a little countdown really quick here so I can sneeze.
I live in debt, I'll die indebted to your hope. Born again, I swear I wouldn't breathe a word. If you could find me, take me back and make me whole. We're a circus, ruin my body with your corpse. So can you help me out?
Okay, hello, everybody. How are you guys doing? Can you hear us just fine? Mel, can I hear you? Mel?
Hello.
Oh, okay, you're here.
Hello.
Got it.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. Okay. I am going to make sure we're actually live because uh, we didn't do a good
Last
job with
time.
that last time. It says Republic, and we're live and stuff. Okay. Internet is like, ugh,
We just have to roll with it. Roll
I
with
know.
it.
All right, let me see if there's any comments. Okay, cool beans. Awesome. Let's see. I don't have a docket. I'm usually way more prepared than I
That's
am,
okay.
but I got my vaccine on my second dose on Wednesday, and it's like kicking my ass. Like I am so tired.
How are you? Oh, I was gonna say, like, how are you feeling?
Well, I'm just tired. Like I was expecting to get, the fevers and like a minor flu or
Fatigue.
whatnot, but
Fatigue is
yeah.
part of it.
Yeah, but man, dude, yesterday I was like, I'm not doing anything aside just laying here and drinking a ton of water. But
Yeah.
I think today I'm still feeling some residual like exhaustion, but I'm glad I just got it out of the way. So yeah, so at least I'm not. I mean, like we were worried for a little bit there about me getting vaccinated because we had to choose between Pfizer, Moderna, and
Mm-hmm.
then the Johnson one, of course. And the Moderna one was the one that like my docs were a little bit concerned about. So yeah, I mean, I was kind of like waiting for something bad to happen, but luckily nothing did, so I'm okay. It's just the exhaustion sucks, and I've never felt this kind of exhaustion from a vaccine before. So anyways, we are on our, is it 8th installment or 7?
I've lost count. No, it's not 7.
We're at 7. Okay,
No,
I'm just gonna
it's
go with
past.
7.
It's past it. No, it's not. It's like 8 or 9.
8. Okay, I think it's 8.
8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we're on our 8th installment of Crafty Mess here, and today we are going to be talking about the David Dobrik stuff. Before we dive into that, Mel, what are you working on as far as your craft today?
Oh, so I had like, from the last time I made coasters for Tony. Well, I have a lot of these macrame cords, and I was thinking like, what should I do with this? And then he was like, well, he actually needs a trivet. So I'm making this like star pattern trivet.
Oh, how
Um,
cute!
yeah, hopefully it'll come out right. But right now I'm trying to because I'm using a 2 millimeter cord, and the video says to use a 3 millimeter. So I have to like improvise and add more stars or triangles to this to make it a little
Mm-hmm.
bit bigger. But yeah,
Oh,
we're just
cute.
gonna roll with it.
Um, he's okay
What
with
about
yellow?
you?
Like, is that his favorite color? Sorry.
It's not his favorite color, but he was thinking that the way it looks like it will just look like sun.
Oh, okay. Well, at least he's open-minded about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm trying to finish up that gift that I'm working on for my friend and their little babies there.
Yeah.
I'm almost done. I just gotta make little tiny pom-poms for it and stick it on, and then I can finally package it and send it off to her with some Easter
You're
stuff.
almost so done. It looks so
So
cute
close.
too.
Yeah, so it's taking a while. I think it's because I keep hopping back and forth between the projects. So maybe
Yeah.
that's why it's
Well,
taking so long.
I mean, same thing with my sister's baby blanket. Like I still have
Yeah.
to finished knitting it. I'm just like kind of hopping between projects.
Yeah, I think like one of the thing that I've learned is that like if I force myself to finish something, I'm gonna do it like I'm gonna make more mistakes. So I might as well just take breaks and then work on
Yeah, yeah,
something else
yeah.
before, you know.
Totally.
Because if you're just like, oh, I want to get this over with, you're just gonna make more mistakes and it's gonna be more frustrating, and then it's just not gonna turn out the way you want. So
I
might
hear
as well
you, girl.
just take your time with it. And my allergies are kicking in right now too. So if I sneeze, um,
I
yeah,
know
it's a
mine's
whole
been
lot of
like kind of
mess.
tickling.
Yeah, I don't know. Spring is kicking my butt. We will see. I think it's just all the vaccination that's kind of like dragging. Anyways, so before we start, the disclaimer is these are opinions, not facts, just watching everything unfold. I am going to refer to a couple of other YouTubers that I've watched and seen make commentary on this. So we're just going to kind of like touch the top of it, like not really dive into the full story because there's a lot. So definitely check out some of the links down below. And I will link like, some of the other extra stuff so you can watch those too. But we're just going to be sharing like some of our opinions on it. And Mel, what do you have to add to that?
So everything that we say here is definitely just opinion. So please do not harass people that we're talking about in here. If you have any comments, feel free to comment below this video, and we will get to it. Because it's just we don't tolerate any harassment or bullying on this channel.
Nope. Not
None
fun.
whatsoever.
Won't put up with it. We've been bullied before, and
Yeah.
we're fine. We're fine with that out of our lives. Okay, so let's go on the David Dobrik stuff. I just briefed Mel really quickly about it, and I think I don't want to go so far back as to like Trisha's hand in exposing the story. I think I just want to start with the vlog squad and the main characters, Dirty Dom, David Dobrik, and then the three girls that were in that situation. So basically, just a a quick synopsis is David Dobrik is a vlogger and he came from Vine, and he wanted to do a vlog where he was going to get one of his friends, Dirty Dom. The fact I can't say Dirty Dom without like cringing.
Yeah,
And
like
it's
who
spelled
came up with that?
yeah, and it's spelled Durte, so it's like dirt
Mm,
Dom. So when I read it, I can't say his name without like um
yeah.
so basically David was trying to set up for Dirty Dom to get a five sum. And I think I can't remember if it was David or if it was Dirty Dom who posted this on their Instagram and basically was saying, hey, we're trying to film a vlog. If any of you girls want to come over or anyone interested in the area want to come over and hang out, I'm going to try to get this five sum happening. And I think that was like in the Instagram post that was mentioned. I'm not sure verbatim like what it said, but it was kind of like general, something like that. So these three girls showed up, and let's call them. So the Insider article named them as Hannah and Sarah, and then there's a third girl too, but she wasn't mentioned as much. So that's not their real names, but we're gonna go with Hannah and Sarah here. So the three girls showed up. They were around age 20, maybe one was 21. I'm not clear on that, but I know that a big contingency was a big problem was that they they were underage drinking. So three
Yeah.
of them showed up, and basically they're just like, haha, we just, responded to the post because we wanted to come and hang out with you guys. We're huge fans of David, and just to hang out and party and to chill and to have like a 20-something-year-old experience, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, and they're like, no, we're not really interested in the whole five-some situation. They're just there to hang out. So then David had someone from the vlog squad go out and get some alcohol. In the vlog, it sounded like they used alcohol um, to get the girls, compliant enough to be a part of the the bit.
So
Yeah,
many
because
like crimes are being committed right now. I just feel like, what the heck?
yeah, so basically how it did was like the vlog was he cut over to a voiceover and he's just like, with a little bit of alcohol we were able to get the girls to do,
What the
to do the
heck?
bit. And then he cuts back to the vlog, and basically it was, Dirty Dom was in the room with Hannah and another girl. Sarah was the one that was sitting outside and was just like, all right, I'm just gonna sit out here and just
Mm.
chill. And so Hannah and her other friend were in the room with Dirty Dom, and I guess like it was insinuated that there's some activities and stuff. By the way, trigger warning, we are going to be talking about sexual assault. So if this is something that you're not comfortable with, again, we're big on protecting your emotional well-being and your mental health. So definitely come back for another episode. So just want to throw that out there. Um, but yeah, so they were in the room, and I guess when Hannah and her other friend came out of the room, Hannah was just very intoxicated. Her body was kind of limp, and her friends had to like carry her out, and it was just insinuated that like Dom had some kind of interaction with both of those girls. Now, the Insider article did talk more about those actions and those allegations. So you guys definitely should probably read through the article, or maybe just like I saw the H3 podcast, they kind of read through it too. But they went into a little bit more detail on that part, which I don't. We don't even have to get into that part to even know that, okay, morally this is wrong, and like on a legal on the legal side it's also wrong. So I just,
Yeah, like what the heck?
yeah.
How
And
did
so
they think
okay,
that this would be okay?
how is it even a vlog, to be honest? Like,
No idea.
okay, so if I had to think about it in two ways. Like, okay, the first one is that let's say all of this was fake, right? Why would
Mm.
this be okay for it to be faked and to be put into the world like that? Because when you're talking about vlogs, I know not a lot of things in vlogs are real. Some things are manufactured, but not everyone knows that when they're watching vlogs, because there's a lot of it is very real and stuff, and another half of it is also manufactured and scripted maybe. So it's almost like reality TV. So it's like there's some truths in there and some producer magic and stuff. So but to fake that and then to put it on YouTube, where kids who are probably watching, because a majority of David Dobrik's followers are younger audiences, so and I'm pretty sure they're watching this and they're high-fiving each other like, oh bro, like this is like a locker room talk, kind of like fraternity situation. um
Oh God.
so 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 you're to fake something like that and put on YouTube. That's not okay. Now, if
Mm-hmm.
this is real and it really all happened, that's definitely not okay. So, like in either situation, I don't see in any way or script or role or position like I would ever think any of it would fly. Um, but we're also coming from, so David Dobrik is also coming from the same generation as Jake Paul, Logan Paul, Tana Mojo. Who else? A little bit of like in the James Charles, Jeffree Star like generation. Like I feel like that era of 2015 YouTubers and vloggers were like kind of like the group of, I guess, problematic content creators. and and now it's what, 2021, so 6 years later, which I think is a pretty, as far as YouTube career wise, I think that's pretty normal, like for someone to grow within 5 years and then to fall within 5 to 6 years as well. I no,
Yeah,
I think like if I'm looking at all the YouTubers today, like
we're seeing a
they
pattern.
yeah, there is a pattern. And it goes to show that like you do on YouTube, you can really get that 15 minutes of fame and then just go away or get canceled or whatnot. With David, though, he did make a second apology. The first one was really, really bad. When I watched it, the first one was not like genuine at all. It was more like, I am sorry that you feel this way. I am sorry that
That's not an
this came.
apology.
Yeah, like that's what it felt like. The second one was a little bit more heartfelt, and I definitely think um I don't know if he feel that bad or he feels bad because he's losing a lot of sponsorship and a lot of money from it.
Hmm.
Um so if we go back to all of the things when it comes to like sexual assault and things like that, um this happened in 2017, 18. So the girls didn't go come out then, and I can understand why, because if you're someone that's anonymous and you kind of like um answered an ad to go hang out with some of your favorite celebrities, and all of a sudden something horribly happens, like, and if you come out, it's another one of those, I'm a fan and I'm going against a celebrity, and and I might get a lot of backlash for it, so I can understand why it took the girls so long to not um what's the word, to not come out. But it's also really sad that it took all the sponsors to like remove themselves from David for David to make a sincere apology. Did you freeze up on me?
My
Hmm?
there. Hello?
I think I think you
Okay.
froze up
Because I
on me
keep
there.
hearing you go in and out. So, okay.
Uh-oh. Yeah, because you kind of froze up on
Uh-oh.
me there. Yeah. Uh-oh. Did you just disappear?
I don't know what happened. Reception down.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're a little bit on the laggy and okay. Can you hear me? You're good.
I hear you.
Okay. Oh no, you're just a little laggy.
Hello? Hmm.
Hmm. So like your
Wonder
craft cam is really
why.
good. Yeah, your craft cam is really good.
Uh,
Hmm.
that helps.
Okay. I guess we won't see Mel for a little bit here. Is it your audio that's going in now, or is it my audio?
I don't know. I mean, I hear you.
Okay, you can hear me just fine, right?
Yes. Hear
Okay.
me?
Yeah, you're going in and out.
Dang it.
Hmm.
Refresh the. Hello.
Yeah, you're still going in and out.
Hmm. Hmm. pop in my head. Just keep talking.
Okay. Completely lost my train of thought here because I think I'm a little bit more into crafting today. I guess where was I? Does anyone remember where I was? Something about sponsorship apology. Hello? No, I gotta say something.
Hello.
Okay. I think the audio is just coming in a little latent. Uh-oh. Oopsie. I might have you come back in. I accidentally kicked you.
Man, we're just experiencing all sorts of technical difficulties.
Okay, so much better.
Okay, good.
Okay, yeah, there we go. My brain feels like jello today. I think that's what it is.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's just getting vaccinated really messed up with my brain. And then I started late too. Today, like, was just like a slow day. I'm usually up by like 6, but today I woke up at 7:30 because my toddler decided to sleep in too, and she's like my natural alarm. Can't rely on her anymore. Clearly. Okay, so I was talking about the apology. How he made the apology, but this is right after losing a ton of sponsorships. He also had a like an app that was supposed to come out that came out a couple weeks ago, and a bunch of backers decided to pull out from that app. So now, like, the apology, like, if you look at it and all on paper, it looks really good. He says what he did wrong. He apologized to the people that he's done wrong. He said that he's open up to conversations with those people that he's done wrong. Moving forward, how he's gonna change these behaviors. So, like, on paper, apology, it hits all the marks, right? Whether it's sincere or not is like not. I mean, obviously, it's not for me to say because I'm not the one who was affected by David or the Vlog Squad. But I do question that why wasn't this apology addressed earlier on instead of after all of the sponsorships went away, you know?
Well, obviously it's because he's hurting.
Clearly.
That's why he's not addressing until now.
Yeah, clearly. So it's hard for me to think, okay, is this a sincere apology or not? You know,
It's
but
not.
again, you
It's
know,
not.
again, it's
Nobody changes overnight like that.
yeah, but it's not for me to accept or not, right? Like, it's not for us to be like, okay, we take your apology. It's up for the girls and stuff. So, so there's that. But I mean, if you think of like traditional media, like if you worked in traditional entertainment, if like an actor or someone did something horrible, then, you know, Warner Brothers or Disney or Pixar can drop them, and then they go away for a little bit, and then they might come back, right? With YouTube, you don't necessarily have someone or like a network to hold you accountable. I mean, YouTube is not going to hold these people accountable, right?
It
So
doesn't care.
yes, the people that could technically hold them accountable would be their fans and viewers, but yeah, but again, I mean, there could be 30% of us who are enraged, but still 70% of their followers are like, I really don't care about the drama, I'm just here for the content. So that doesn't really do anything. The only people that can really truly hold YouTubers accountable would be the sponsors, you know. And it will, but it will take a lot for a sponsor to be like, okay, we no longer want to affiliate with this YouTuber. And I think what happened was like Insider decided to hit up every single one of David's sponsorship and was just like, what are you guys going to do about this? Are you guys still going to be backing him? And I think because they're being called out, they're just like, all right, this is bad press for us. And so they, you know, they are removing themselves from David. So I'm not saying that like the sponsorships are like, the sponsors are, are clean of all of this as well. Because at the end of the day, like this is one big money making machine. David is no less just a brand at this point, and and again, it just comes down to money, right? So I literally just finished the Woody Allen documentary
Mm-hmm.
on HBO Max, and you think about like all these people who are in power with money, with influence, who can persuade the media a certain way, or the legal system a certain way. It just goes to show that, like, once again, it's a reminder that like it's even that harder to come out and talk about these things when you already know that, one, people might not believe you, and two, you will probably get way more hurt from it, like legally and financially and also emotionally as well, so people just go and not talk about it at all. And that's the reason why I think these girls probably just didn't say anything afterwards, because it's almost like 3 or 4 years since the incident, and
Well,
and now they're finally coming. Go ahead.
it's the same thing, like how like they joined in being like, not a lot of people know them, but they know of David Dobrik and all the other people. So obviously they feel probably intimidated and don't and not coming out, that sort of thing. There's just not this is like with that Harvey, is that his name, Harvey Weinstein, whatever. It's the same
Weinstein, yeah, and
Weinstein, but it's the same.
Epstein.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Whereas like people feel as if they have to give up something in order to succeed or be part of the attention.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And it's unfortunate because then it goes to victim blaming, right? Like,
Yes.
why did you put yourself in a position to
Mhm.
so and so? For me though, like I have been in these situations where I felt like, all right, getting a little bit skeevy here, gonna check out by 9 p.m. Deuces, see you tomorrow, right?
See
But
ya.
yeah, but that's because I honestly don't even know where I got that from, but I just think that, like, I did it. But let's say I didn't, and let's say something happened, like,
Mhm.
it's not my fault regardless if I stayed or if I left or whatever.
Mhm.
It's not. It's unfortunate that, like, because someone choose to like hang out somewhere and feel like, oh, they can hang out and stuff,
Mhm.
but not,
Peer pressure
it's
is very real. And it's just one
oh
of those where it's like you have to, I don't even know where they can learn that from. But it's just something that they have to learn to say no, and be accepted for that, respected for that too.
Well, here's the thing. You and I deal with this a lot.
Mm.
We don't drink.
Right. Which
And
is
the
a great
amount,
thing because, man, the amount of problems people get into just based on drinking alone.
yeah, we don't drink. And it's,
Hmm.
I don't like it just because I
I don't like the
again,
taste of
type
it.
A. Yeah, I'm type A, and losing control freaks me out, right?
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
um, that's why you and I, we don't drink. But the amount of times where we've been at events and people are like, oh, just have a glass of wine, oh, just have a glass of champagne, oh, here's just a shot, here's some, like, just the constant pushing of alcohol now, even though it's not even anything that is like a malice gesture. It's just people want you to have a good time and hang out, and it's just
But
a glass of wine, it's fine.
who's to say that you need to drink in order to have fun? I've never had to drink in order to like let loose, Like I can totally get on stage and sing karaoke without having a drink.
Exactly. We don't technically need the liquid courage, right? Like,
No.
but it's all those instances where we've been in these situations where people are always like, hey, have a glass of wine, come join us, come cheers with us. Like, why can't we just do it with like Sprite? Like,
Totally.
it's such a big problem. I feel like it's socially that you have to have a good reason as to why you don't drink, which
Hmm.
is no one's business. Like, I don't have to explain to you why I don't want to consume this beverage. Like,
Hmm.
and the amount of times I have to think about every single time I have to explain that to someone, it is not only is it infuriating, but then it makes me like the outcast. Like, what is wrong with
Also,
her? Why is she
yes,
being weird? Like, how come
why
she's being a party pooper? I'm not a party pooper. I'm totally fun without the alcohol. You know?
totally, but like why do we get shamed for not drinking? Like
Yeah.
part of the other to fit in? Like I don't understand why alcohol is part of the social thing to do in order to
But
have
you do
fun.
feel, but you do feel that shame, like that peer
Yeah,
pressure, right? And it's so annoying.
there's even this guy that I was seeing for just very briefly, but he part of his reason for not seeing this relationship long term was that I don't drink and I don't like sports. And what I say is like, okay, see ya. Don't waste my time.
I mean, the sports thing, whatever, I can understand. It's a hobby thing that you guys want to get. But the drinking thing, like that was probably like one of my biggest, most annoying experiences as an adult and even going through college. It's just like, I don't like to drink. Like, stop pushing it on me. Stop telling me that's fun. Stop trying to tell me that I need to loosen up. Stop saying
Yep.
that I'm being a party pooper. Stop telling me that tastes good. Stop telling me that, oh, it's not that strong. Oh, that one I heard quite a lot. It's not that strong.
Yep.
I'm like, who cares?
Oh yeah, if it's not that strong, okay. If you want me to drink, here, take this spicy ghost pepper wings.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
eat that and you tell me if you can take it. It's not that strong. It's not that spicy. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like it's so annoying. Like if someone says no, may it be a sexual act, may it be consuming some kind of drink. Like if they say no, just stop pushing it. Like
Yeah.
literally, it's so annoying. And I get it. And the most annoying thing is that when it comes to alcohol, I get it the most from men.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
it's always from
Huge.
a dude offering me a drink, and it's like, I don't need to drink this to have fun.
Yep.
With that said, even if I did, and even if I just felt like completely just strung out somewhere, it does not give anyone a right to my autonomy, right? Like my body. So I don't want to victim blame, but it's unfortunate that we do have to be cognizant of our environment. So
You know,
that means go ahead.
you know what I heard recently on TikTok
Hmm.
from this Japanese person? She said that in Japan, it really kind of boils my blood because there's no such thing as consent in Japan.
Hmm.
If a girl says no, it means yes. It's like the total opposite. And like that's it's just very, very misogynistic over there, which I can see, but then it makes me really sad because Japan is such a beautiful country, but like ruled by patriarchal, themes is like it's the amount of things that I heard from there, like they literally don't have any, I don't think that they have any like rape kits or whatever. They don't have any other stuff. It's all about not laying any blame on the women. It's like, I mean, not laying any blame on the men. It's like, the women has to be there to please the men. Like, what the heck?
Well, it's the same thing as like, when what was it, like in school we weren't allowed to wear tube tops or spaghetti
Right.
straps because it's
To
distracting
not,
to
yes.
boys, or like, and I'm like, well, I'm sorry that my shoulders distract you,
My
like,
ankles.
yeah, like I'm sorry
Where are we?
yeah, like I'm sorry that I have to cover myself up because you can't do calculus, like why is that my responsibility?
It is not.
It's not, exactly. And again, we're talking about that patriarchy that that is very apparent at times, and same with the whole well, she asked for it because she was wearing a short skirt or because she was inebriated, and she's just like bleh, bleh. Like it's not. Yes, we like for me, I have always known that like, okay, bad things can happen if I am not in control of myself, my consciousness, and the way I conduct myself in public, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or whoever I'm around. Like I know that. It sucks that I have to be on guard. Like I would love to let loose and have fun and
Mm-hmm.
blah blah blah. Too. Of
Not
course
have to
I
worry
do. Right?
about not having to
Yeah.
worry about like protecting your drink, even though luckily I don't drink at these parties. But there was this, I don't know, this representative from where it might be like, it might actually be like international, but she had mentioned something about actually having a curfew for men, that they can't go out past 6,
Oh
you
gosh,
know. And I actually kind of enjoyed that, but then there are
that's kind of
obviously
funny.
some men in the comment section saying like, well, we want to hang out with the bros, so we should be allowed to to be out past 6. No,
Yeah,
when
you
you
can do
get
it in your
inebriated,
basement.
yeah, when you get inebriated, you make the wrong, like the worst decision ever. So no, you're not allowed to go out.
I can't. I think that's a little extreme for my taste there. you know, I think that that's kind of a slippery slope. But I think that that would be kind of like an interesting like was it like a movie arc?
Yeah.
That would be really interesting because I think I saw one
Hey,
where like there was a
but
world without men or something, and it was just
yeah,
a
that's
bunch of women
true.
raising children, and it was interesting when there was like there was one guy in the movie and all the girls were like, oh man, just like super
But
interested.
I want to say that it's, yes, it sounds extreme right now, but I do want to see if we could put that to a test.
Oh yeah,
Let's chase
oh
like a
totally.
30-day test and see if crimes go down. Women, like crimes against women, go down because, you
I
know.
doubt it. I doubt it. Even with like COVID, like just being locked down for 2 weeks, like people could not,
Mm,
could not even do that. I can't imagine if we just only like limited to just men. Like I think it would just be a completely a full
no,
on
because men
riot.
don't want to be told what to do anyway.
Oh,
So
of course, of course, of course. Same with women. I
yeah,
mean, we're not saying not all men, by the way.
there's a
But
hashtag.
there's a hashtag, not all men, right? I do know that mine, I sometimes would have to like be like, yo, this is a little misogynistic.
Hmm.
Just kind of, letting you know, you can't just assume this. And so, yeah. And sometimes like, he would try to, rebuttal, but I'm like, okay, great, great. You stand on that stance, whatever. But think about it. What if you were dating some? What if your daughter was dating someone, and that was the response that they gave her? And he's like, oh no, that's not okay. Like so it's like situations like that. I think sometimes it's hard to understand until you have a daughter or a sister or whatnot. But
No,
um,
you think, but there are
you think,
plenty
right?
of chauvinistic male who have daughters and who still act very chauvinistic. So I don't know. I don't. It's a mindset, and I think it's more about like their upbringing. How
Oh,
it's really about how you, if you have the upbringing of respecting women from the start. If you
yeah,
didn't, then no, I don't think it's. I don't think they would change.
yeah. I mean, like even culturally for us, like um, just in like Asia as an Asian American, like or Vietnamese, and for me especially, it's very patriarchal. It's very much like the men control the money, they can do what they want, and wives are pretty much property. I mean, it's definitely different now, but that's kind of like the mentality that was hanging around for a while. I mean, I'm lucky that my dad was so like modern and chill, where he was just like, no, they're both equals. um but like in other instances with my friends and stuff, I do see that the parents are very more controlling of the daughter and how they present themselves, and the whole boys will be boys mentality and things like that. Like for in my community, like when a girl goes out and have a drink with some of her buddies or whatever, then she's kind of like, oh my goodness, she's going out and doing this wild, crazy lifestyle. But like if the son goes out and does that, it's like, oh, he's just drinking with the boys, like
Mhm.
it's very double standard ish. And I'm glad that a lot of it is changing, even in Vietnam, where with my cousins and stuff, but it's still taking a lot longer. And I know that we're still working on it here in the US, but again, because for so long we're seen as property, as second class citizens, it's going to take a lot more time for us to get to that place of equality, which unfortunately, I think it means that we're going to need more men who are going to be our allies. And we're also going to have to teach our daughters to speak up more and not feel like they have to be submissive or docile or that they're mean because they're not being nice.
Mhm.
Let's see. My mom gendered everything. My mom was super controlling of the girls.
Because she grew up in a very traditional where women have to listen to the men. Like
Yeah.
it's just I was very controlled when I was when I was younger, and I wasn't allowed to go to sleepovers. A lot of what I've learned culturally was learned in college, where I moved away from home and I learned. A, Unfortunately, I got made fun of by my so-called friends because I didn't know a lot of the stuff, and I kept saying like, "Oh, well, what's this? What's this?" And they kept thinking that I'm either just I don't know, stupid or whatever, but like I don't know how to act, like I didn't know how to act back then. And so yeah, like it was just is a culture of being overprotected. And
Yeah.
and I wonder maybe they
I
just
know where I know
yeah,
where you're
maybe
getting
like
here.
yeah, I was gonna say like I wonder if it's because they see so many like men who can't behave, who don't know how to behave, or actually boys who don't know how to behave in public, and they're that protective because they don't want anything to, hurt their daughters. That's also another
Well,
possible answer.
I feel like it's twofold, right? Like
Yeah.
one, they know that, the culture. So boys will be boys. They're going to act a rampage and you're going to be pretty much fish in a barrel.
Hmm.
And so we don't want you out there and pretty much get attacked or be a victim.
Hmm.
Um, but the second thing is that let's say you do get attacked, you're a victim, or and then you get raped or you become like wasted goods or whatever,
Then
then it
then
then
you are
brings shame to the
blamed.
family. Yeah,
Yeah.
then it brings shame to the family. So
Yeah.
it's like at the end of the day, it narrows down to the girl being the problem here. We
Hmm.
are a problem for being a chick walking down the street, and then we are the reason why that bad thing happened to us. So it's
That's
like
just BS.
there's no win-win, and it's the same with the whole alcohol situation. You are not a fun time because you don't want to consume alcohol, but then if you consume alcohol and something bad happens to you, then it's your fault you know so it's like lose lose. And I think at the end of the day, if we raise our girls to be confident in their stance, which I think I'm very lucky with my dad in the sense that he was always you know, treated me like a person and not like a girl. Um, I mean, my mom had her, she kind of had her gender thing going on where she, when I was in high school and in middle school, the first thing I had to learn how to do was go home and how to like cook. And
Hmm.
one thing that really stuck to me for a very long time was that, well, if you don't learn how to cook, how are you going to take care of your family? And I think that was the reason why I never wanted to have kids. I was just like, well, then I just won't have kids. That was like my response to that,
Hmm.
and my dad always was like, no, she should go do her homework, or no, she should go outside and play. Like, this is, she doesn't need to cook, And so, I mean, I still, now that I'm older, like I enjoy cooking and stuff. And it's a choice that I made for myself. And it wasn't something that was like, put onto me that I had to do. So you know, I was lucky in that sense that like my dad treated me like a person, which in turn gave me the autonomy to be like, all right, I might look like a loser at this party or feel like a loser because I don't want to drink this alcohol or this beverage, but I don't care because I'm confident in my cool factor
Mm-hmm.
that I don't need to drink to prove to you that I'm cool and that I'm a good time or that I'm fun. Because I could be
Mm-hmm.
all of that without the drink, right? And so I
Mm-hmm.
think it goes back to like when you raise children, especially little girls, we have to stop nitpicking them, making them feel like every little thing has to be perfect, but also give them the confidence to be able to say no and to be comfortable with themselves
Yeah.
to say no. And that they're just not something to sit there and have to be nice and comply with, you know? Um, and and especially this YouTube industry, I think one of the highest jobs that kids today, I think it was like a census that they did where they asked a bunch of kids what they wanted to do when they grow up, and they're like, oh, I want to be a YouTuber, which is like no less saying I want to be famous, right? Like, okay, you want to be famous, but what do you want to be famous in? Like as a
Mm-hmm.
singer, a model, an actor, an artist, right? So you know, sometimes I have some friends like they have children. They're just like, hey, can you help you know my kid like with the YouTube thing and the Instagram and stuff? And I'm like, sure. And like I would talk to them like, so what do you want to do? And they're like, well, I just want to be, you know, I just want to get a lot of views and subscribers. I'm like, okay, great. But how are you going to do that? Are you, do you have a personality? Can you craft? Can you draw? Like, what do you think that you can put out into the world that people are going to want to subscribe, right? Because essentially, when you say, I want to be a YouTuber, it's no less than saying, I want to be a celebrity, you know? And,
But
and because,
unfortunately, where with people who are doing that at such a young age, they haven't learned to be able to. They're not grounded enough to like if they do succeed in everything, you know, the same culture will repeat its cycle again. You know what I mean? Like always wanting to have that the clout, the attention, the status, the success, but all of that comes with some sort of baggage.
yeah, and it's also like, it will go to their heads, right? Oops, my camera just turned off.
Oh, okay.
But it will get to their heads in the sense that um, they will just see themselves as numbers, like how many likes I get, how many subscribers I get, how
Totally.
many views, and that is detrimental to the growth of confidence if you can quantify it that way, you know. Um, because for a while like it took me a while to like unlearn that likes does not equate to how good my content is, because I still think
Mm-hmm.
whatever I make is good, and it doesn't mean that because there's you know 2-3 thousand likes means that it's better than the last post that I did, or less good in comparison to the last post. So it takes a while for me as an adult to have to unlearn that. So I can't imagine growing up being ingrained to believe that the number of likes and followers and comments will equate to your worth, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and especially in Asian culture, your worth is very much valued on your degree and also your money. Um, so unlearning that too was like a whole journey in itself. See, Tram said, did your mom try to train you to be a housewife? Because my mom was crazy about that.
Oh yeah. Well,
Okay.
I wouldn't say it was like a full, training like thing, but I was always in the kitchen helping my mom, and I don't know, and also probably because I'm the oldest, so I would help my mom quite a bit learning how to cook and all that stuff. Um and all the other like mechanics or repairs and everything or like the boys do. So there is definitely a very gender specific thing in our family. I don't know about you, KL.
Um, I mean, I said a little bit about how like my mom wanted me to cook and things like that. She
Right.
wasn't like crazy about it, but there's always an undertone that I'm a girl and I have these extra responsibilities. So there was that like undertone, but it always got nipped in the bud with my dad, and even just like my rebellious personality. But there was like undertones of like, I'm going to be the one doing the child rearing, I'm the one cleaning, and all that. And from a very early age, I was always like, well, I'm not going to have kids, so then I don't have to cook for them or take care of them. And I would just hire someone to help me clean my home. so like it was like that mindset that I had very early on, but like the undertone was always there. And there are times when, in like group settings, like New Year's or something, my mom would always, I think she would joke about it, but still it's another like, that like behavior that made me feel like, okay, I can't cook a pot of rice. Like, in a group setting where a bunch of like the moms would get together and be like, oh, well, kids these days, girls these days, their generations, they can't even wipe down a counter. Like, they were having that kind of like female banter. And so I would hear that and it's just like, well, I guess that sucks, but
I remember growing up too that my mom would constantly pit me against my cousin. Like my cousin was like the very, epitome of a good Asian girl, that she like, helps the mom, she like cleans, she cooks and all that stuff. And it's like, why can't you be like her? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I definitely felt that growing up. And then even when I was like, when my marriage failed, she thought that was because I didn't cook and clean for him. Like, what the heck is this society? Or when I bought my first home, oh, why didn't you wait until you're remarried again and then let the husband, buy your home? You know what I mean? Like, it was that same, like literally I had her come visit my mom and my dad come visit and everything. And the same thing I heard is like, why'd you waste your money? You should like just wait until you get remarried and get your own home and get a home together. She was very traditional, and unfortunately, and I'm glad that I really I didn't listen to her in that sense, because that was the same mentality that kind of like screwed my mind, thinking that I had to have a man in my life in order to build a home for myself. And that's just something that I had to break myself out of that pattern and say like, hey, I can still build a future for myself, I can still build a home. Because like when my marriage failed, everything, my future in my mind like crumbled as well, because I kept thinking like, oh my gosh, I can't survive on my own. You know what I mean? Like, this is the type of mentality that was like unconsciously, drilled in at a young age, which I'm so glad that I was able to break out and actually realize that, yes, I can actually go and build, save and build, buy a small home, and build it to the way I want it to be. Because if something happens, like if another person, your next partner comes into your life, you.
oh, there you go.
Hold on. I'm not sure why.
If another person came into your life. I think Mo just went mute there. Huh. I'm going to remove you and add you back in. I'm kicking you out of the studio. Come log back in. Okay, while Mella's trying to get back into the stream here. So, Tram, tell me a little bit more about your mom and wanting you to be a housewife. Like, I guess what is your experience with that? Because you kind of heard our experiences, and it'd be interesting to know what yours was like, and if it's very similar or if it's just very different. And if you want to join, you can also join the stream too if you feel like it. But no pressure. All right, now it's back.
Yeah, my boss decided to like call like after this all hands
Oh.
meeting thing.
I'm sorry.
That's fine.
But yeah, you said something about buying your home and
Yeah. So unfortunately, it was like drilled at a very unconscious, like at a conscious state. And I luckily was able to like break out of that and be able to say, hey, I can build my future on my own. And if any lucky person comes into my life, you know, they can complement it, but they are not like the sole, you know, provider, because I know I can provide that for myself.
you know, it's also like interesting how when you think about like when men have a lot of money and let's say someone marries them, it's like, oh, well, you better get a prenup or she's going to take half of it and blah, blah, blah. But then like, let's say a woman has a lot of money and she wants a prenup with a man, then it's like, well, why is she protecting her assets like that? That is such a
It should
bleak
be
move.
shared.
Like, have you heard, like, I've heard that many times, like,
Mhm.
you know, because like I brought it up, like my home, like I very much want to protect my home and my assets with, you know, with Papa Bear.
Mhm.
And you know, like it has been a conversation like, well, why don't you trust him and things like that. I'm like, no, this is nothing about trust. It's literally money here, right? But then like if you flip it around, then it's
Yep.
it's like women are emotional and we can't handle things in a logistic, pragmatic fashion. But then when we do, then it's like, oh, we're the bitch,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
But it really it comes down to protecting our assets, and there's nothing wrong with
Mhm.
being an established woman and, you know, having someone fortunate enough to walk into your life and cohabitate and mesh that together, you know. Okay, so I asked Tram about her experience as with her mom and being like the, you know, the housewife and such.
Yep.
And she said, my mom forced me to basically do all the housework at like 5. Oh
Yep.
gosh. I was basically a second mom at a young age, and my mom burned me out, and she would belittle me and nitpick me all the time.
This is the culture back then. Like on our live this week, I had mentioned that I changed my first diaper at age 9. Like who does that? Like kids have to be able to to have fun, to go and play and everything. But yeah, like my sister and I at a young age had to take care of our little brother and sister who were like 9 and 12 years apart. That is just the tradition.
Oh, well, here she also added in, I should also, and she would also come at me about how I dress, wore baggy clothes, and she would tell me I wasn't pretty enough to marry someone with money or smart enough to go to school and make money because I wanted to be an artist, which reading that makes me so sad because it kind of hits me. It hits a little close to home.
Yeah.
The baggy clothing thing, I think it's interesting because the baggy clothing thing, Tram. Okay. So were you a 90s kid? Because I remember in the 90s, you know, TLC was like very big. And so I was very into the baggy clothing as well. That was just like a part of like my fashion. And so I did wear baggy clothes. Okay, cool. 90s here. Okay, so yeah, like, you know, I was really into TLC, and I always saw that they wore baggy like pants, and Aaliyah, she had the baggy pants as well, and so I like loved. Okay, the gothic baggy stuff too. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay. So we're like on the same on the same part here. So yeah. And my mom would used to say the same thing too, and I would always buy like in the boys section to wear that kind of clothing. And I remember one time my mom made a comment about the baggy clothes, and she said that like, you have such a cute figure, why don't you wear a dress? And my dad was just like, she looks totally cool in those baggy pants. And he just said it like just so nonchalant. He's like, she looks awesome, she looks cool, like what's wrong with it? And I think that helped me a lot, because for a minute I almost walked back into the house and changed. And like, I don't want to put any like, you know, like I definitely don't want to make my mom into like a villain. It's just like culturally that's how she was raised, you know? And so I try to like think back on that and forgive her in that sense, right? But at the same time, you know, like now I know better and I'm going to do better with my own child. And then Jen here said, I remember when my ex and I got a baby kitten, and my mom saw that my ex was taking more care of the baby kitten and basically told me how much of a failure as a female I am.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm obviously not going to be a good child caregiver in the future. And that was blood boiling. Oh God. This is just like, oh gosh, this is hard to read. My mom made me feel like it would be the only guy that will ever be with me because I'm not girly enough.
Oh my gosh. Sorry. That is not true.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as being girly enough or manly enough, or gender is such like it's such a spectrum, and it's so like bendable and moldable. Like in our home, like I'm the one that's like building shelves and like woodworking and things like
Which
that.
I
And
want to
Papa-
learn.
yeah, and Papa is the one that's doing like the Excel spreadsheets and, you know, planning like the vacations and things like that. Like that is a very, you know, non-conforming gender role wise, you know. But then there's other things where I can anticipate like what Grudy needs right away, so it's very like maternal or considered feminine, and Papa is kind of like like can't expect it at all. So it's very moldable and flexible, and you're not one thing. Like you're not all feminine all the time, you're not all masculine all the time. Like you're just constantly changing. And I will have to say that the baggy pants tripping all day is hilarious, because that was such a struggle.
I've actually never got onto that trend. I've never actually liked the baggy pants trend. I've always actually just been, you know, a girly girl. Maybe thankfully my mom thinks that that's great, but but in a
Oh, your
sense,
mom would hate me.
I know, right?
I know.
But honestly, it's not like, oh my gosh, hold on a second. My cat is on. Hold on. Bo, get off the.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know 90s struggle until you like have the baggy pants and you're tripping on it, and it was like every time it rains you like have like wet pants.
Yeah, no, I've never had that.
It's funny because like between Mel and I, Mel is definitely a little bit more girly than I am.
Totally.
But even though we like both like girly things like makeup and hair and fashion and stuff, like we still have our different things. Like she's a much better baker and cook than I am, and I will ever be. Oh no. Like don't even try. No, don't even try to like. Yeah, no. She's definitely a little bit better. Like she can plate things really well. And then I guess like for me, I can hang the TV up, you know.
And I like that.
Yeah, I can change a tire, like things like that, right? Like
yeah,
so
that's great.
we're very different, but we still have like girly things that we like I guess,
totally.
crafting, right?
Yep.
Okay, so Jen, I'm so sorry about the kitty thing. Like that should not be a beacon as to what being a woman is, you know, as far as caring for something. You can care for something without being a woman. I mean, if Papa didn't care for Grudy, I would have a huge problem.
Don't ever let others dictate who you are, because the thing is like for even my last toxic relationship, he pretty much said that, oh, like if you can't even fix the problems that's in this relationship, how do you think that you're gonna do better in the next one? So it's like these type of words make you feel helpless and make you feel like that you don't have control of your actions, and you very well do. You have your own likes, dislikes, and you're, you know, you can totally have opinions and be able to do things that you want to do. So if I didn't not listen to like, I have respect my mom and everything, but there are just some things that I did not grow up like believing, and it's just some things that if it's against my my like morals and things like that, like I would not I wouldn't, you know, hold that. Like it's just not something that I believe in, you know what I mean?
And that's okay. Like you can have different beliefs from your family. I think you're not your mom's or your parents like
Right.
property. You don't have to think like
Right.
them. You're not an extension of them. You're
Right.
a separate individual, right? And I think in Asian culture there is a problem with that because children are property.
Mhm.
And children are huge representations of the family dynamic, which again is also not always true. Let's see. Bitch Tram said, by the way, I really didn't think I could be a mom till you shared your journey with Rudy because my ADD and depression. Thanks to you, I have my own 26 month now. And yeah, my mom basically said when I lost my virginity that I was worthless, and it has been a good journey to watch motherhood and different experiences than traditional norms. Oh,
Wow. You guys,
oh, I would have cried.
I know, like this is really
I guess it's hard for me to respond to that. I think the first one is thank you. I try. And then the second one is I'm so sorry that your mom said that to you. And I'm so sorry that you had to experience that at 17. But I am also, I congratulate you for your 26-month-old and, you know, paving the way that you want to raise your family and how you want to create your family, regardless of whatever experiences you had. I think these experiences, although they are hard, I think if you can reflect on them and realize that it is a part of what makes you stronger and wiser and just more reflective, you don't need to hear your mom to know that you're a great mother, because I still struggle with that. You know, on social media and also in my personal life, we're like, am I a good mom? And I constantly hear that little, you know, questioning if I'm doing right by my child, because everyone's going to always have an opinion on how you're being a mom. Pretty sure your mom probably went through the same thing in that sense too. And I don't know, with everything that you had on top of raising your child, I think like it's a win. But I also know that 26 months, you're in the terrible 2 stage. So I also send my love out there to you. Hang tight. You will get through that part. But yeah, the whole virginity thing is rough. Like, so for me, when I was a teenager, I always had like bigger hips than a couple of other of my like Asian peers. And so like one time, like my mom and my aunt made a comment that like, if your hips get any bigger, then people are going to think that you're a slut.
What?
Which, yeah, literally. Like, I was just like, oh, so then like I was very conscious about my hips, and so I was always like to diet and exercise and stuff, because I didn't want people to think that I was a quote unquote slut. Which here's 2 things wrong here. First of all, it doesn't matter if I was having sex. if it was consensual and, you know, and I was like discovering my own sexuality and I was taking hold of it or whatever, like it was nobody's business. And second of all, stop calling girls sluts because like shaming them is not okay. And third of all, virginity, who cares? We're monogamish, okay? I don't. It's very rare these days, and if someone is able to wait until they can have one partner when they're married for the rest of their lives, like I think that's awesome, amazing. If you can stick to that journey, cool. And if you can't, there's nothing wrong with it either.
The fact is that you not that you should expect it with body shaming. You would think that like people, you know, get body shamed with like strangers who don't know, like, you know, trolls who don't know you and all that stuff. But to get body shaming from your family, like that's just the worst. And you can't help but take it personally because these are people that, you know, you've known all your life, you trust. You know what I mean? And like to hear those type of words coming from supposedly like a very loving member it's very hurtful. And I'm sorry, like we've all, you know, we've definitely gone through that. The only thing I can say is like, you know, stay strong and like know that that's their opinions is not, you know, it's not the truth. It's not your truth.
Yeah. And even so, like, when it comes to the whole virginity thing, like, why do we still have to put it up on this pedestal? Like, it's this like amazing thing that a man can have. Like, I still don't see. The only value that I see in virginity is the fact that it is yours and it is sacred to you. It is something special to you, and you get the choice of how you want to expose that part of your life, right? And I think that's powerful. Other than that, I don't think there's value in it like that. I don't think that there's like, oh, that's what makes you a woman, or that's what makes you a whore, or that's what makes you more marriageable than, is marriageable a word? More marriageable than another woman. Like, it just, like, that doesn't equate to me as far as I guess equity goes. But let's see. Hello Jen says, it's been a good journey to watch motherhood and different experiences than traditional norms. It's taken many years of therapy, but I'm over fostering the beliefs that doesn't match my own.
Yep.
Good
you, job.
Jen.
Good
Yeah.
job. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's hard.
Unfortunately, parents do not know, like back then, how much upbringing, like the proper upbringing can really, not having the proper upbringing and the words can really hurt you growing up, you know. And unfortunately, a lot of us do take a lot of that baggage with us, and you know, so yeah, thankfully that you're able to separate the difference.
Yeah, and it goes, you know, I'm glad that you're in therapy too. That it's very helpful because it's good to get a different sounding board, right? You know, even when you grow up, you will end up not even knowing that you're gonna have friends around you that are very similar to the ideals that your parents have instilled into you. And so then if you talk to your friends, maybe that sounding board is going to be very similar to your parents and stuff. And so when you go to therapy, it's very unbiased almost. It's not coming from your community. And that can really help kind of give you an idea of like, okay, this is a little strange here, which is the reason why I like having therapy, because when the way that you're raised, sometimes you feel like, okay, I have been taught to feel a certain way, handle things a certain way, and I don't know if this is normal or quote unquote unnormal. And so just having someone else kind of say, well, what do you feel? Like, if does it feel right to you, then, you know, even if it's traditional, then keep moving it along. If it's not right, then again, change your beliefs or you know, change the way you view life a little bit. But it does take a lot of unlearning. And I think that in itself is like such a heartbreaking and long process to unlearn something. I mean, there's the quote, old dogs can't learn new tricks kind of situation, which is very true, because it's hard to like pretty much unpack your whole childhood and and your culture and your traditions, right?
Yeah.
So we kind of like just went away from David's. Whoops. But I mean, it's very apparent that, you know, the power dynamic, the feeling like you have to be a part of a peer pressure group, like it all plays into all of this, right? And again, like I don't know. It's just a lot. Um, I don't know. I guess we just kind of like went off.
Well,
And
we were talking about like David Dobrik and just how, you know, consent's a huge thing, obviously. And, you know, and as well as like the YouTube culture and, you know, having to feel as if you have to succumb to a certain, you have to like give in to certain action or actions that you're not comfortable with. You know what I mean? So I think it does tie in. It's more about just learning how to say no. And a lot
yeah,
of us grew up back then not knowing how to do that, you know.
yeah. And I
So
mean, and I think this is almost in all cultures where women are taught to be nice.
yep.
Right. And even now when I write emails and stuff, I'm like, oh, I have sent you this attachment the other day, but it's okay, no rush, you don't have to open it. Like I would do that with my emails, and then like I have
Yeah.
to like stop myself and be like, can you please refer to the last document? Thanks.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I'm like, it's okay, don't take your time. I'll be here all day. I'm free
Yeah,
all day. I have
right.
nothing else to do. Just take your time and read it, please. Like, oh no rush. Like crap like that, when it's like
Yeah.
literally I could just say, can you please just read that document from last week, because
Yeah.
my
Because
God, it's been
yeah,
7 days.
it's like, yeah, you can do your job too. I did mine,
Yeah,
so do yours.
yeah. So it's like, you know, we have to stop telling like, you know, little girls to be nice and stuff. I mean, it's a little weird of a balance for me right now because Grudy's going through her teenager years. So I'm like, hey,
Mm,
you have to be friendly, but like I'm not trying to tell her that you have to be nice because you're a girl. It's like, no, you have to be nice because you're a human, you
yeah.
know. And I think that's the distinction there, right? Like you can be kind as a human, and it's genderless, you
Mm,
know.
mm-hmm.
So okay, let's see. It's a good topic that we're on. Yeah, a good therapist is important. I need years of that
Yes.
before I was ready to be a mom because my mom made me so worthless.
Ugh,
Definitely once I saw you, that I had the courage to try motherhood, and it's been beautiful. I do tell my mom and Vid to leave me alone when it comes to parenting because she messed
good.
6 kids up. Good for you.
Yeah, stand up to
Seriously,
your
good.
parents. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
and you know what? It's scary. I'm not gonna lie. Like for me, sometimes when I try to tell my mom like, hey, you need to
Hmm.
back off, like
Hmm.
I'm shaking inside, like, oh God.
I'm gonna get slapped for this.
Yeah, like which bomb did I set off, or like
Right.
am I getting cut out of the will and
Mm,
all that stuff. And at the end of the day, it's like I mean, I don't care about the will, to be honest, like
yeah.
whatever, you know. um but like, you know, yeah, there's that fear that's like so like ingrained into you, and I don't even know why. Like it's not like my mom is gonna beat me.
Hmm.
And as far as like the will thing goes, like I don't care if there's a will. So I don't know why that fear is there. So I'm wondering if like Jen and Bitchram and Mel, do you guys like still have that
No,
fear, or
no, that fear has been long gone only because my mom has grew out of this. She's grown up, you know, gotten older and letting out a lot of the steam. But yeah, growing up, that she definitely like was very strict, and very I want to say a psycho mom. She was a psycho mom. Like I was, you know, I mean, in that type of culture growing up, like, you know, I was abused and I was chased around with a butcher knife, like, you know, those things supposed to be common. Like, but
and
no,
it seems so normal, right?
yeah,
Like,
back then it was supposed to be normal, but it's not actually. And so but now, yeah, she and I, like, I've forgiven her for a lot of those things because I mean, she had to raise like 5 kids, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
a lot of it's also a learning um a learning curve for her too. And now she's, you know, she and I have I want to say a good relationship. Like I call her whenever I want to like catch up and everything, and it's been good. So um it's the culture. It's also how they were raised. So I'm sure that my grandma, you know, even though she looked very young, very small and like docile back then, I'm sure she raised with an iron fist, and that's how she learned to raise kids. So
Okay. My question with the butcher knife thing, like, is
yeah.
that just normal? Because my grandma,
Oh, it's
so
whatever it was, whatever handy, you know, hanger or whatever. She just happened to have a butcher knife nearby.
okay, because my grandma was known as like the brick and brimstone of like her neighborhood because she would walk around with a butcher knife and you do not
Oh
F with her.
no.
Yeah. And so like so you know, she definitely raised my mom with an iron fist as well. And same thing, the butcher knife situation, like um and so
Yeah.
I mean I'm very lucky that I've never had like physical discipline before.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Mm-hmm.
but I'm also wondering if like I w- I would have to say I was definitely a sociopath of a kid now that I think about it because I was so good about hiding all of my bad traits from my parents that I never pushed to the point that they had to physically abuse me. Not that it's okay, but I was so good at hiding all of my endeavors that
Mm-hmm.
I never got to the point where they had to like do that kind of stuff, you know? But I also know that my parents were a little bit more modernized in the sense that like the whole coloring my hair, cutting it a certain way, like they weren't as strict with that kind of stuff. But there were things that I definitely crossed boundaries with, but they never like knew. So I don't think I would know if they would have disciplined me in that way. I do know that my mom has chased me as a kid once with chopsticks.
Mm-hmm.
And I like was able to flee long enough that it scared her that she thought I ran away. And so
Mm-hmm.
when I came back, it was fine. And then one time my dad kind of like swatted at me with like a notebook. But here's the thing. That was when I was 4 and I can't remember why he did it. So it goes to show that physical discipline doesn't work because I don't
No.
know why he hit me in the face with that.
Yeah.
I just knew that he did, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, physical discipline is very real in Asian culture. And I know a lot of my peers who grew up with a lot of issues because of physical discipline.
Yep.
My ex, for example, is his one, and um, it's I don't know. I don't. It's sad that
It is sad.
that's so normalized, right? Okay, so let's see. My mom backed off a lot once she noticed my changed reactions. I told her, like, if she wants to be negative, she won't see me because I will not accept being disrespected as a human, which is crazy, right? Like, the concept of respecting your child as an equal is so far removed. Like, it is not even a conversation in our culture, right? Like, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it's unheard of to see your child as an equal or as a human or as an adult. Like
Oh yeah, for sure.
it's so crazy. Even like I still struggle with my mom on that, you know, like she'll always throw the "I'm your mom, you can't speak to me that way" kind of card. But it's like, well, you can speak to me any sorts of way, but I can't tell you what hurts my feelings because my feelings don't matter. So like
Mm-hmm.
I get that too. So and I
I'm
told you
sure I'm sure plenty of like kids growing up maybe like where my mom had said that, hey, if I like born you into this world, then I can kill you.
oh
That
yeah.
might be a little bit harsh, or I mean, but it's that's their mentality. It's like they have such control or ownership towards you. It's like
Mhm.
so weird to remember that still to this day.
Yeah, and I mean, they will probably follow through, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
Um, let's see. My mom is such a crazy mom still that my 13-year-old sister would rather take her out of my mom's house. My relationship with my mom is love and hate. She always has something mean to say to me, but I have to stand up to my mom for my kids' sake. And my mom would just use a bamboo stick. You should have seen my mom when she saw my nose ring. Like, how in our culture your mom or dad won't ever say sorry when they're in the wrong. And then Jen said, it's always swept under the rug, like, no, sorry, just ignore it and pretend it didn't happen.
Right.
Yeah, it's just we don't talk about feelings, right? It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably the reason why a lot of us grow up with mental health problems. It's because we don't talk about it.
Right.
And I'm so glad that so I don't know if you guys heard of this podcast. It's by Esther Perel, and it's on Spotify, and her podcast is called Where Do We Begin? And there's a couple of episodes where the couples are Asian Americans, and they talk about their why he can't commit fully, or how come she is not comfortable with sex and things like that. And a lot of it kind of gives you an eye opener to oh my gosh, this is very similar to my childhood as well. And Esther, as a therapist, she's more of a relationship sex advice therapist. She's the one that I told Jamel about polygamy, the book that she wrote.
Okay.
Yeah. About how what's it called? I forgot the name of the book, but anyway, so
The Ethical Slut.
Yeah, the ethical slut, which she was trying to be cheeky about the word.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the one that wrote that or co-wrote it. I don't know, but anyway, so that podcast is really good, and it's just interesting to see how with our generation, divorce, our parents' generation, divorce is a completely non-topic. You just don't talk about it. You suffer in the marriage, right?
Yeah.
And then when it came to Mel and my generation, where it's just ooh, it happens, but it's kind of a little on the taboo side, and it's is it really the woman's fault? Why didn't she try harder kind of situation? And then I wonder what our kids' generation, because divorce happens so often, and even now that for me, we were planning to get married last year, but now that COVID and everything happened, I'm just I'm fine with cohabitating. Why do I have to make it into a legal document? If why do it's a lot, and I think it comes from a cultural conflict and just a past experience kind of conflict as well. So
yeah,
but okay, so we are at 1 hour and 30 minutes. I think we can kind of call this conversation, put it to rest for a little bit, and maybe circle back on an Instagram live.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then I think the last one was maybe moms should raise their boys better. I agree. I do think that this generation of boys are a little bit more compassionate, though.
Let's not put boys on a pedestal. It's a very Asian thing, where it's oh, you have boy in the family, it's they're the prince and they can do no wrong. That's where you raise really chauvinistic, very arrogant men in this world.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's please raise your boys with to be able to respect women.
Well, the thing is, they assume that the boys are going to be the one that brings home the bread for the family and stuff. But then that's also assuming that women are too dumb to go out and work and bring finances home for the family as well. It's very chauvinistic. There's so many things wrong about that. And this whole concept of oh, the boys are going to be the one that carries on the family name. Who cares? It's just a name. Biologically, technically, on a very biological level, none of the children actually carries the mRNA, which is the DNA that's in the mitochondria cell, is being passed on only from the mother. So technically, they aren't really passing on anything.
Thank you.
So we are the one that's actually passing on some kind of genetic legacy. So just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
So that we all know, because it's semen is really not that high and potent. So there's that. But yeah, we definitely, I think it's gonna get a little bit. I'm seeing in like Grudy's generation where like girls and boys in Asian American families are being raised very equally. So that's
Good.
starting, or at least in my cohort, that's starting to be very evident, and I'm very happy about that. But again, every now and then you'll still get the peak of like, oh, she's a girl, she shouldn't be whatever, and you kind of just like snip it really quick. But so that's our conversation from David Dobrik to Asian American culture and being moms and raising girls, but it all intertwines. I think we raise confident girls to be able to say no and stand their ground and have autonomy. Then and we also raise boys to become passionate and empathetic. Then we don't end up with a bunch of vloggers who think that women are just
Commodities.
yeah, commodities or props to be in a vlog such
Yep.
as this.
Yep.
Going full circle. As much as we can.
I think it's a great. We've definitely touched upon a lot of topics, but I think they're very important topics.
Yeah, I think we might have to come back more on this because I think, yeah, there's a lot. Yeah. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining and adding to the
Yeah.
conversation. We love reading your comments. And we do Instagram lives. We're starting to try to do that like midweek just to kind of catch up and see what's going on in the news and stuff like that. All the topics always like it hits a little bit heavier than we expect, but we're also like very emotional in a good way, empathetic people. And we've also lived quite a few lives. So there's that. But thank you guys so much for joining us. And we will be live again next Friday on YouTube at the same time, similar time, or is it later? I think it's a little bit later, right?
Yeah, next week is a little bit later, just like about an hour, I think.
Yeah, an hour delay. And then we'll do Instagram lives like midweek. But yeah, you guys, thank you so much for sharing your experience. I think it's nice. I mean, it's unfortunate that you guys had to experience that, but it's also nice to read because it kind of makes us all feel like, all right, we're not crazy, right? Like
we've been through
thing.
that.
Yeah. So, anyways, you guys, I hope you all have a great weekend. And what else? What else, Mel?
Make sure you follow us on all of our social channels. We're definitely, like KL said, that we're getting a little bit more active on Instagram, being going live, but we also have other channels too, or Twitter handles. So, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this. And obviously, if there are other topics that you want us to touch upon, feel free to share that, and you might be able to see that. Our next streaming actually is a mukbang session, so it's not going to be crafting. And that, what was the title that we decided on?
Mukbang and murder.
And true. Yes.
No, it's mukbang murder, but we're going to be eating macarons.
That's
so it's
right.
Mukbang murder and macarons.
I know. Don't you like our themes?
Yeah. So I'm going to try to like brand it all cute, but we'll see.
So yeah, stay tuned for that.
All right, guys. We will see you next week. And have a great weekend. Bye.
Bye.